Nobody expected a child's birthday party to become the center of one of the most talked about royal rumors of the year. Yet if you've spent any time online in the past few weeks, you may have already stumbled across it, a story spreading across social media that claims Princess Anne walked into Buckingham Palace carrying an old red velvet box, and that what she did next supposedly left the royal family quietly divided. Now, before we go any further, let me be absolutely clear about what this is. Nothing you're about to hear has been confirmed by the palace. There is no official statement, no verified recording, no proof of any of it. This is a viral narrative, a piece of speculation that has captured millions of imaginations. And today we're going to walk through it exactly as it's being told, while asking the one question most people forget to ask: could any of it possibly be true? Stay with me, because the way this rumor is constructed is almost as fascinating as the claim itself. The story, as it circulates, begins with a scene. A May afternoon, sunlight through the tall windows of a palace hall, flowers arranged, a seating plan, supposedly designed to keep certain family members a comfortable distance apart. It was meant to be a quiet celebration for Princess Charlotte. According to the version being shared, everything about the room had been carefully considered. Everything, that is, except Princess Anne herself. The telling describes her arriving in a dark suit, hair pulled back, wearing the expression of someone who had already made a decision and was simply waiting for the right moment to act on it. Whether any of that actually happened, of course, is precisely the part nobody can verify, but the image is powerful, isn't it? And that's worth keeping in mind as we go, because a good rumor doesn't survive on facts. It survives on scenes you can picture. So what was in the box? That's where the story escalates. As the narrative goes, Anne stepped forward and announced she was bestowing upon Charlotte a special honorary recognition, not a rank, not a protocol title, but a tribute said to honor the spirit of her late grandmother, Diana. The account describes her speaking about compassion, courage, and a refusal to stay comfortable while others suffered. And then, supposedly, she opened the box to reveal a tiara, one with enough history attached that its mere appearance is said to have changed the mood in the room entirely. Now here's your first reminder. There is no confirmation any such ceremony took place. No photographs, no guest accounts on record. It's a story, but the story doesn't stop there, because according to those sharing it, the tiara wasn't the controversy. The reaction was, this is the moment the rumor hinges on. As the tale is told, Queen Camilla is said to have risen before the applause had even settled, reportedly objecting that the decision had been made without consultation, that the honor was inappropriate, that the family should be looking to the future rather than reopening the past. I want to stress something here because it matters. Attributing specific angry words to a real living person, words she may never have said, in a moment that may never have happened, is exactly the kind of claim that should make all of us pause. The people spreading this story present it as fact. We're presenting it as what it is, an unverified allegation, nothing more. And yet the question it plants is the reason the whole thing has gone viral. Why would anyone object to a child being honored? What could possibly be underneath a reaction like that? That's the hook the rumor is built on. So let's follow where it leads carefully. According to the version circulating online, Anne's gesture wasn't spontaneous at all. The story claims it was the final step in something that had supposedly been building for months, a quiet, private effort said to have begun when Anne noticed gaps in the royal archives. Letters, photographs, personal items connected to Diana, allegedly missing without explanation. Now, is there any documentation of this? No archivist has come forward publicly. No records have been shown. No independent source has verified a single item on the supposed list. This is the point in these stories, where speculation dresses itself up as investigation, where vague claims about missing files and empty slots are offered without anything you could actually check. And that's exactly why you should feel your skepticism rising, not falling. But the storytellers know that, so they introduce a witness. Who was he supposed to be? The narrative names a former staff member, described as an elderly man who had once worked closely with Diana and had, according to the story, been carrying a secret for decades. It describes a quiet meeting, a grey afternoon, a confession he could supposedly no longer keep, And here's what I need you to notice about that. Anonymous or unverifiable witnesses are the backbone of nearly every viral royal rumor because they can't be questioned, can't be cross-examined, and conveniently can't be found. That doesn't make the story impossible, but it should tell you something about how much weight it can actually bear. The claim, as shared, is that this man described a deliberate, organized removal of Diana's belongings over many years. A serious allegation, an unproven one. And notice how the story keeps escalating just as your doubt kicks in, because the next chapter is where it becomes almost cinematic. And that's usually the biggest warning sign of all, because the story then moves to a basement, a safe in Surrey, locked for 20 years, supposedly belonging to a second former archive worker. Inside, according to the tale, were documents, retrieval records, dated minutes, and a recording said to capture a voice giving an order to dispose of everything connected to Diana. I'm going to be very direct with you now. A secret audio recording, hidden for 2 decades, suddenly surfacing to confirm every detail of a dramatic story that is the single most common feature of fabricated narratives. Precisely because it's the most impossible to verify and the most satisfying to imagine. No such recording has ever been made public. No such safe has ever been shown. If it existed, it would be one of the biggest stories in the world, not a whisper on social media. So ask yourself honestly, as the story asks you to gasp, where is it? Why has no one heard it? And who benefits from you believing it does? The rumor, naturally, has an ending. They always do. It claims a private meeting was later held, that the recording was played, that composure collapsed, that a senior royal was quietly moved to another wing of the palace and stripped of official duties. A tidy, dramatic resolution in which the villain is exposed and justice is done behind closed doors, where conveniently no one can confirm any of it. And this is where I gently point out the pattern. Real royal life is messy, undramatic, and rarely resolves in a single confrontation. Stories like this one resolve perfectly because they're written, not reported. The neatness isn't evidence of truth, it's evidence of authorship. So if almost none of this can be verified, why has it spread to millions? That might be the most interesting question of all. Here's a theory worth sitting with. Diana remains one of the most powerful figures in modern royal memory, and stories that cast her as someone whose legacy needs defending will always find an audience, because so many people feel protective of her still. A rumor that combines a beloved lost princess, a young girl inheriting her spirit, a hidden injustice, and a secret finally revealed, isn't popular because it's true. It's popular because it's the story people want to be true. And that's the quiet engine underneath almost every viral royal claim. Not deception exactly, but wish fulfillment dressed as revelation. Understanding that doesn't make you cynical. It makes you harder to fool. So where does that leave the actual people at the center of it? It leaves them, as always, with far more restraint than the rumors grant them. Whatever the real relationships inside the royal family look like, they are almost certainly more ordinary, more complicated, and less theatrical than any viral script. Charlotte is a child growing up in the public eye. Camilla is a real person who, like anyone, deserves not to have invented words placed in her mouth. And Diana's legacy, genuinely, does live on, carried not by secret tiaras or hidden recordings, but by the public that simply refuses to forget her. That part needs no rumor at all. It's the one thing in this entire story you can actually verify her memory endured, and no amount of speculation online changes how real that is. So what do you make of it? Do stories like this one spread because there's a grain of truth buried somewhere inside them? Or purely because they give us a version of the royal family more dramatic than the real one could ever be? I'd genuinely like to know where you land. Drop your answer in the comments. Share this with someone who follows every twist of the royal story, and subscribe so you never miss the moment we separate the rumor from the reality, because the next royal story making the rounds is already spreading, and it may be even harder to tell apart from the truth.